My name is Chapak Patrick Smith. Chapak is my Buddhist name. It means gold nugget. I'm a Dharma student here at Still Point Zen Buddhist Temple. I've been a Dharma student since September, so this is my first year. After 3 years, I'll be ordained as an actual Dharma teacher. The first noble truth is life is suffering, which is actually kind of in a way mistranslated. The original was life is dukkha, which means deeply unsatisfying. Everything you love will someday pass away. Everyone you know you'll someday be separated from. You know, everything you have that brings you happiness will one day end. And eventually you'll end yourself. And because of that, there's nothing in this life which will give you truly eternal happiness. So the life is suffering. The second noble truth is that desire is the cause of suffering. When you want something, that's when you start to run into trouble, because you're never going to get exactly what you want. The third noble truth is that there is a way out of suffering. If the causes of suffering are in place, then suffering will follow. And if you eliminate the causes of suffering, suffering will disappear. Everything that arises can also fall away. And it's the same with suffering, because suffering arises, therefore suffering can fall away. And that's the third noble truth. And then the fourth noble truth is the path that leads out of suffering is the Noble Eightfold Path. Right after Buddha became enlightened, the first sermon that he gave was the Four Noble Truths. And the Four Noble Truths were, the first truth was life is suffering. And the second truth was the cause of suffering is desire. All suffering comes from desire. Life never quite gives you exactly what you want. One of the ideas behind this practice is to kind of still the desires, to put out the fires of passion and lust, and be able to accept things the way they are rather than wanting to change them or wanting them to be different. If you're not happy with the world the way it is, you're not going to be happy, because I mean the world is never going to be the way you want it to be. There's nothing especially wrong with desire. I mean, the thing is, if you don't eat, you get hungry, you know? If you stay up, you get tired, and you're going to want to sleep. Like, you know, how can you live without desire? How can you stop wanting stuff? And he says, well, the trick isn't really not to desire things, but the trick is not to be attached to your desire. I think a lot of times our desires get kind of misplaced. Well, a kid in high school, you know, he says, I want this new pair of shoes, but what he really wants is to fit in, you know, to be popular. But he can't acknowledge that desire, or he can't attain that desire, so it's kind of sublimated into, I want a new pair of shoes, or I want this, you know, I want this CD. I mean, to a certain degree, this tradition is about restraining. And it is a lot about restraining desires, but it's not about denying them. One of the teachings is, how do you save the world? I mean, you're just one person. How do you save the world? And the answer is you shine one corner, you know? And I mean, you don't try and save Detroit. You go outside here on Trumbull and you pick up garbage, you know? And we do that. We did that yesterday, actually, for the sake of the world.